I want to talk about the piece that started this whole journey for me, creating Aplomb Gallery and bringing you all together for this first group show named Stronger. The title for that came when I was doing this painting of my cousin, and I knew that I wanted to embrace how strong she was. About a year ago now was when she came to me over the phone and let me know something that felt like a tsunami. She told me she had been abused in her childhood, and it hit me really hard, and I felt really overwhelmed. But the amazing thing is that every day since then, I have seen her grow stronger. We've leaned on each other. Things have happened with my life. There have been ups and downs, good days, bad days, and hers. And we've been there to support each other and really to get to know each other for the first time, even though we've been related for so long. She trusted me to use my gift, my painting, to capture her strength in a portrait. And I took this on as something that was cathartic for me and for her. And the process was really healing, I think, for both of us. When I approached the piece, I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I wanted the process to unfold before me. I knew I wanted to start with ink, but I didn't know what it was going to look like. I had a canvas laid out on the floor, and I just started throwing ink down, and I was using it to release some of the feelings I had of frustration, of not knowing, of wishing I could have protected her. And I was getting that ink down because I wanted the background to represent the chaos, the hurt, the times of uncertainty, the feelings of frustration from me, and the feelings that Sue felt as a child when she disassociated for the 3 decades, and now as it's all coming back to her. So the background is really meant to represent the chaos and the difficulty in her past, where the figure is coming out and coming towards us in a way that is supposed to represent hope and represent the future, that it is strong, that it is bright. We couldn't see each other for the first really 6 months since she told me. Finally, when we got to see each other and we knew we were working on this project, we went to the store together and she picked out this outfit. And it was different than anything she would have normally worn. And I loved what she chose. It has these beautiful gold threads going through it. So I wanted to take those threads, the gold and the white from the shirt, and have them emerging from her into symbols of strength. So there's some Nordic symbols. We're both Norwegian for strength. There's chevrons, which is protection and strength. And then there's some symbols snuck in there that actually are taken from Lady Gaga's tattoo. And she's somebody else who had come forward about her abuse story this year. And so it's a symbol meant for survivors. And you'd have to probably know that to recognize it. But I thought it was nice to have it there coming out from her. And so the piece itself is a multi-layer, and I hope that it conveys the message that there is hope after darkness. And thank you all.
I don't have a question so much as a comment. I just find it so inspiring how she's coming out of that darkness of the background there. Really beautiful.
Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate that.
I just wanted to say that it captures her so well because I know Sue personally so well, and it radiates who she is and the strength that she's gained, and it's gorgeous.
Thank you, Lydia. I think that was you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And Sue, thank you for being part of that through Danielle as well.
Danielle, I have a question. I was curious because you mentioned how with the background, you said it was made with ink, correct? And how, you were sort of, that it was very emotional and sort of getting your anger out as you did that. And what I think is really interesting about the piece is that the background, it, feels so, I don't want to say chaotic, but there's like a lot going on there, and it feels very like in the moment, versus the figure. As a figure painter myself, I know that those can take a long time. They're much more measured, and so was that sort of the process for you? Was there like a difference in the emotion from creating the background to creating the figure, or anything like that?
Yes, the emotions were very different when I was creating the background versus the figure. And even the place that I started the piece for the background was a different area than I'm usually in. And I didn't have music on. I was just there with my thoughts, with my frustrations and my feelings, and I didn't really plan it out. I just started throwing ink down and letting it bleed. And I knew I wanted black and I wanted teal to represent sexual assault. And I let it move around the linen, and I just poured water on. I sprayed. I let that do its own thing. And I also allowed myself to put my emotion into it in a way that I don't normally work. And it was really cathartic, and it was really interesting to see what would happen when I kind of let go. And then when I was working on Sue, on painting her, I was back into my comfort zone with realism. But I listened to power ballads. I was playing music that really invigorated me and encouraged me, and it definitely helped channel that feeling of empowerment and strength as I was working up the different layers.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I was at least gonna say something about this portrait with the blue background with the orange mask. It's titled Breathing Room, and I think it's probably pretty self-explanatory with the mask and what we've all just been through with the pandemic. But there's a lot of layers to this portrait. And I hope you guys have a chance to get up close because I worked a lot with paint textures and everything in it. And a lot of my work does focus around women and self-identity and a lot of people who've been through some sort of trauma or abuse. This is actually one of my best friends, and I painted her during the pandemic, and we actually made her a plastic mask for this portrait because we were all going through a lot that felt so suffocating, personally, with the pandemic, but also in her personal life. She has suffered a lot of traumatic experiences and found herself in an abusive relationship during the pandemic and was very trapped, because it was so isolating. And so this portrait has a lot of meaning to me and, personally to a lot of people, especially women, but, also men who were in situations where they felt trapped, and they didn't have breathing room. during the pandemic. So this was a really important portrait for me. And it really related to what was happening at the time. So if you guys have any more questions about it, and there's also, if you there's a lot of things going on, and I don't like to over explain some of my pieces because I like people to, you know, see themselves in the work or what they read from it. But the tattoo on her neck is in reverse, so in the mirror it says "Know Yourself." And that was something that she did for herself when she decided that she needed to make a change and move on. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you. I have to sort of get close to see the detail, but yeah, it was about having breathing room, but you really feel like you can.
Yeah, I love how the mask pops out. I especially like the texture of the hair because it's done in such a way that it, from far back, you can almost envision each individual strand, but when you get close, it's like more of almost like expressionist. And it's really interesting that your brain can kind of fill in those gaps the way you've done it. It's like it almost seems extremely realistic and highly detailed from far away.
Thank you. Actually, that's an awesome compliment. I really, really strive for that. Like, it's representational, you know, and then you get up close, but it's just paint. I'm always fascinated by, you know, paintings that just look like paint up close, but capture that realism. It was actually. Yeah, that's so funny. You noticed that she was. It was absolutely roasting that day. I can, if people are interested.
Sure.
So the centerpiece is in passing. It was sort of just a captivating image that I got of someone, and I feel like everybody reads something into her story, and I don't actually know her story, but it's sort of about that. It's like when you see somebody, but there's something about them that captivates you, and it's like you can sort of imagine an entire backstory for a person that you just don't know, but there was something in their face that captivated you know, and it's like somebody you'll always wonder more about what they've been through or who they are, but there was just a moment, you know, and that's what this was. It was an image I captured of somebody in a city, and I thought that's just such a beautiful, you know, expression of when you see someone in passing and there's so much there, but you really just don't know anything about them.
So you painted from a photograph?
Yes.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. And then my last piece, Yellow, that was something I did last year. And it was just amidst all the political turmoil that was happening. And it was just so heavy and it was so emotional. I just wanted to paint something beautiful and powerful.